What is going on, Headliner Nation? Jake, Fantasy Headliners. Hopefully everybody's doing well out there today, where we're going to have a little bit of fun today. The NFL schedule just released the other day, and myself and Kyle thought we'd have a good time, go through the entire schedule, and make a prediction on what we think every team's final record will be come end of the season. So we're going to kind of, review those predictions right now. Now, breaking news. Myself and Kyle cannot literally see the future. I know at times it seems like we do a pretty good job at it, but you know what? We really can't. So if you don't like the record that we give your team, don't get butthurt. It's not worth it. It's supposed to be fun. We're having a good time talking football. That's what this is all about, is having fun with it. And we're not going to waste any more time, right? We're going to dive right in to the first division we're going to talk about, and it's going to be the AFC East. All right, so here we go. I'll throw some graphics up on the screen so you can kind of see the differences that Kyle and I have here as we went through the schedule. Starting at the top, though, the Bills, we both agree. Are we shocked that we both have them at number one with a great record of 13-4 and 14-3? No, we're really not, right? No major losses here. The team looks great. They're clicking. A great schedule to start the season. Got the Bills here finishing number one. Number two, it's the Dolphins, right? The Dolphins are slowly making strides in this division, and if this young talent that has so much potential can take a step forward, they're out of the cellar, right? I mean, the Dolphins used to be the laughingstock of the NFL for quite a while, and now they're really, starting to make huge improvements, but they're super young. They need a little bit more time. They're not quite there yet. Both of us have them finishing second in the division. Next up, the Patriots. I can't crown them for past achievements, right? The defense is going to be improved, but what is the offense like? You got Cam Newton, you got Mac Jones. If Cam Newton struggles, at some point do they bring in Mac Jones? If they do, those are two totally different offenses, right? Mac Jones is not Cam Newton. They're going to have to restructure the entire offense if they change quarterbacks, and to me, that could be a little bit of an issue that I'm worried about. That's why I got the Patriots finishing 3-14. Please don't hate me, Patriot Nation. I just don't love it. Kyle's got them a few spots higher right there at 7-10 for the Jets. The culture change is in motion, right? It's going to take time. Post-Adam Gase is a great era. Trust me, things are going to improve in New York, but it's just going to take a little bit of time. Kind of a lack of a run game there right now, a rookie quarterback under center, and some wide receivers who have some potential, right? We've talked about Denzel Mims. We've seen Corey Davis kind of break out. We like Elijah Moore, the rookie, but it's just going to take a little bit of time for this to really mesh and get together and really see some solid improvements in the Jets. So as of right now, I have them at 5-12. Kyle, a little bit higher at 6-11. Let's move on to the AFC North. Now, one thing's for sure when you look at this division, right? Me and Kyle both think that these are some great teams here in this division. Starting off with the Ravens, who Kyle has winning the division. I have them second in the division. It's a great schedule for them to start the season. A little bit tougher down the stretch, though. But here's the deal with this division. They're going to beat each other up a lot. The Ravens really need to take a leap forward in the passing game to try to put some of that distance in there. The addition of Rashad Bateman should help, and I think that's why Kyle has them a few spots higher than I do. For the Browns at number 2, for Kyle, who I have winning the division, and yes, I may be a little bullish on the Browns, but overall, this team is super solid, especially with Kevin Stefanski under center, right? I mean, they've done a great job building this team back up. How do you win games in the NFL? By winning the turnover battle, controlling time of possession, and running effectively. Oh yeah, they also have Odell Beckham and Jarvis Landry. Baker Mayfield, a little bit more of a game manager, which limits mistakes. I love the Browns this year. I got them at 13-4. For the Steelers, I really think this comes down to the last 2 games of the season for this division, honestly. The last 2 games for the Steelers are home against Cleveland and away against Baltimore. That could really decide the playoff fate of a lot of these teams here in this division, and it's going to make for some fun football down the stretch. Lastly, the Bengals. Kyle, a little bit lower on the Bengals, has them at 2-15. I have them at 6-11. Personally, I don't think Joey B starts the season at 100%, and the Bengals struggle to start the season, but as the season progresses, he gets stronger and stronger, and they really start to improve second half of the season. Do they go out there and get a winning record? No, they don't, but they are going to slowly start taking strides forward, especially with the addition of Jamar Chase. Please, please, please just protect Joe Burrow and keep him upright. Now let's move on to the AFC South. And this is where Kyle and I totally agree on where every team finishes within the division. Slightly different records, but same standings overall. For Tennessee, honestly, I think they fall victim to a super tough schedule, having to face the NFC West this year. We'll talk about them here in a little bit, but that's going to be a tough road for the Tennessee Titans. I mean, I still do think they benefit, though, from being in a poor division overall. We both have them at 9-8 and winning the division here this year. Next up, the Colts. I really wouldn't be surprised if this team starts the year 0-5. I mean, they face Seattle, the Rams, the Titans, the Dolphins, the Ravens. That's going to be a tough hole for them to climb out with such a difficult start to the season. I don't dislike the Colts. They got some decent weapons. If they can keep Carson Wentz upright, that's really going to help out this team moving forward. Next up, the Jags. Now, if I had to guess, the hype for Trevor Lawrence is going to be huge after week 1 because he plays the Houston Texans. And it will not surprise me if his first ever start in the NFL is a victory over Houston. But overall, the first half of the season is going to be tough for the Jaguars. There's going to be that learning curve. How do they really work that backfield with James Robinson and Travis Etienne and Carlos Hyde? What does the defense do? The defense isn't going to, provide them any favors, really. The Jags are still going to struggle, but Trevor Lawrence, the hype's going to be out of control to start the season. Kyle has them at 3-14. I gave them one extra win at 4-13. Lastly, the Texans. This is just an ugly situation. Do we have Deshaun Watson? Wouldn't surprise me if we don't, but that's not my decision to make. We really have to wait and see. But even with Deshaun Watson, it's kind of a dumpster fire in Houston, right? There's no true alpha on that offense. They got 32 running backs in the backfield that all deserve touches. Questionable offseason moves. Loss of defensive players. No J.J. Watt anymore. Just ugh. Come on. The Texans, it may not be a pretty year for them. Kyle has them at 2-15. I was generous and made them 3-14. The AFC West now. And it really shouldn't be any surprise. Kyle and myself both have the Chiefs up here at the top, both at 14-3. Really no explanation why we have them here, right? I don't think we need any. Number 2, though, the Chargers. Both of us have the Chargers taking a huge step forward in 2021. Kyle even more so. Having them at 13-4, I have them at 11-6. Huge improvements coming for this team overall, though. The second year for Justin Herbert. They had a great NFL draft, a big-time offense. The biggest question mark here is the defense and how dominant can they be at times. Can they hold these opposing teams to those lower numbers to where we don't have to have Justin Herbert go out every game and try to win it in the fourth? Can they control the ball a little bit more on the ground at times late in games to solidify some of those wins? The Chargers taking a huge step forward this year. The Broncos, what really happens at quarterback here? Is it a back and forth mess between Drew Lock and Teddy Bridgewater? Because overall, this is not a bad team. Overall, they need some quarterback stability, and they're in a tough division having to face the Chiefs and the Chargers. This really depends. If they can find some solid quarterback play, I wouldn't be surprised if they reach that 8-9 potential 10-win territory. But as of right now, the way it stands, I have them at 6-11. Kyle, 8-9. The Raiders, bad for the Raiders. I am not a fan of the offseason of the Las Vegas Raiders. They have had a horrible offseason, right? A below-average draft, offensive line issues galore, a lack of high-end pass-catching weapons in a division that's going to throw the ball all over the place. It's just lining up to be a mess for the Raiders. Kyle has them at 3-14. I have them at 4-13. Now, on to the NFC, and let's go to the NFC East. And this is where majority of the butthurt for this entire video will probably come in, because there's nothing I can say that won't butthurt a Giants, Cowboy, or Eagle fan here, because we love Washington this year. Kyle a little bit more has them at 12-5, me 11-6, but this team is about to be good for a while. They have a veteran quarterback that they're going to have to address at some point and make a change. Maybe not this year with Ryan Fitzmagic, but moving forward. A lot of young offensive studs, though, with Terry McLaurin and Antonio Gibson. They got weapons in this offense. A great defense, right? Their front seven is arguably the best in the NFL. They've added Curtis Samuel here in the offseason, and head coach Ron Rivera is making all the right moves. We like Washington to win this division. The Giants, though, they really improve here in 2021. They take that step forward. It's a step, though. It's not a leap. And a lot of people want a leap forward in New York. They have, offensive weapons galore. They added Kenny Golladay. Heck, they added everywhere, right? They get Saquon Barkley back and healthy. But here's my one concern with them. And it's not so much that I don't like Daniel Jones, or you want to call him Danny Dimes, whatever you want to, but does he have too many options in this offense? Does he end up with Fobo every single play? If you don't know what Fobo is, it's fear of better options. Is he constantly out there just with options galore, and he takes so much time trying to figure out who he's throwing the ball to that he gets hit in the backfield more times than not? That's what we really need to pay attention to. The entire record, the entire season is hanging on the shoulders of Daniel Jones and what kind of step forward he can take. We both have him at 10-7. Next up, we got the Cowboys. Kyle has them 8-9, me 9-8. And does Dak start slow Does it take him a little bit longer to really start trusting that ankle that he's good to go when he plants? The secondary, it's going to struggle, right? Especially in an improved division that's got passing weapons everywhere, right? We talked about Terry McLaurin and Kenny Golladay and Curtis Samuel and Darius Slayton. There's options everywhere, right? Especially even out of the backfield, even with Antonio Gibson and Saquon Barkley. We'll talk about the Eagles in a second. The defense could be the Achilles heel this year for the Dallas Cowboys, because if Dak can come out and be healthy, we know they're going to score a lot of points. Lastly, though, the Eagles. Kyle 4-13, me 5-11. I mean, can we really trust anything at this point in Philadelphia? The backfield is an absolute mess. I mean, they won't even commit to Jalen Hurts fully, even though I'm pretty sure they are. Devonta Smith, is he overhyped? A lot of people, and I see this in the comments a lot, what do you mean they added the Heisman-winning wide receiver? Of course he's going to be a stud. I mean, let me tell you something. College game does not always translate to NFL game. And I'm not taking anything away from Devonta Smith. But just because he won the Heisman, would he have won the Heisman if Jamar Chase played? There's just a question there, you know what I mean? And I don't want to go crowning Devonta Smith as the next big thing in the NFL when I don't know if his game translates quite as well as a lot of people are hoping for in Philadelphia. Could be a struggle of a year there. Like I said, Kyle 4-13, me 5-11. Now, on to the NFC North. And once again, the Packers sitting on top, and that's only because, as of right now, we're basing this on Aaron Rodgers being back in Green Bay. Obviously, if he leaves, that's going to create a lot of differences in his overall standings, depending on where he falls. But as of right now, if he plays in Green Bay, they're going to have a solid season. Kyle has them at 14-3. I have them at 11-6. I think the locker room issues kind of creep up at times, especially if he stays. So it's just something to pay attention to. Next up, we have the Vikings and the Bears. Kyle and I have them flopped in the standings. For the Vikings, they don't suck overall, but the top half of their schedule absolutely does. Could be a hole that they can't really get out of remainder of the season. For the Bears, I don't think it takes very long for Justin Fields to take over and the offense to really explode. The defensive secondary, though, is going to lead to more shootouts, and that's where I think he could struggle at times. We'll have to see how he works under pressure. I have the Bears at 8-9, Kyle at 5-12. For the Lions, we both agree they're going to finish last in this division. And why? Well, it's because they're the Lions and they're too busy chewing on kneecaps or whatever it is they're doing. Now, we love the improved offensive line, but a new quarterback with Jared Goff and a lack of pass-catching options in a division that's improving overall, yeah, pass on the Lions, finishing last here once again. The NFC South. Shouldn't be a shock to anybody that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers sitting on top here. Kyle at 14-3, I'm going 15-2. I mean, they literally lost nothing. They have almost the exact same team here that they had when it all came together and really clicked and they became super dominant, and that is scary. Have them winning the division here at 15-2. For the Falcons, we both have them sitting here in second place in this division, which may surprise some people, but as of right now, they still have Julio Jones paired up with Calvin Ridley and Kyle Pitts. A poor running game and an iffy defense, though, is going to cause them to be below 500. Similar to what we've seen in years past, the offense may not be the issue. It could be the defense. Next up, the Saints. I mean, post-Drew Brees just isn't the same, right? I mean, how do Jameis Winston and Taysom Hill really coexist in this offense? Who steps up in the pass-catching game to really move the ball? Is it Traquan Smith? That's who's really in line to take a leap forward in this offense, but there's so many question marks, surrounding the Saints and how they're going to utilize their quarterback situation. And honestly, it scares us enough to worry about them not making the playoffs here. Kyle at 6-11, myself at 7-10. Last place, the Panthers, which I hate to say, I live in Carolina. I think that they're going to be better in like a year, right? I don't dislike Sam Darnold being the quarterback. I actually think it's a good move for Carolina. But with all the youth that they have on this team still, I think they're one more year away from making some noise. Plus, they play Tampa Bay in week 16 and 18 and Buffalo in week 15. That is a murderous end of your schedule for the Carolina Panthers, and it's going to cause their record to be a little bit worse than maybe they deserve. And then we'll round it out with the NFC West, and this division is going to be solid. And it's also where we have maybe our biggest difference here between Kyle and myself. He has the 49ers winning the division. I have the 49ers in last place of the division. I mean, by far the biggest difference for all of us. I mean, if I have to look at this, I have to believe that, Trey Lance probably takes over right around after the bye week. But this is a super tough division to play in, and we all love Trey Lance. We love the potential of Trey Lance. I've heard people out there comparing Trey Lance to being like the next Patrick Mahomes. Okay, cool. Mahomes got an entire year to sit. How does that raw ability of Trey Lance transition into his first year in the NFL, that's the biggest question mark right there. We know every year this team struggles with injuries, right? We might as well just chalk it up that somebody's going to get hurt at some point in San Francisco. So that's why I have them lower. Kyle, he's buying into the Trey Lance hype, maybe, possibly. He's loving himself some 49ers. The Rams, I mean, Stafford makes this team better, and it's not even close. It's like by a lot, right? A more consistent quarterback's definitely going to elevate the overall offense here in Los Angeles. And we already know about the defense, right? Jalen Ramsey, Aaron Donald, they're elite on the defensive side of the football. Kyle has them at 12-5. I have them at 11-6. Speaking of 11-6, Kyle and I both have the Cardinals sitting at 11-6. Now, the Cardinals are going to be a fringe playoff team. They are stacked on offense, right? We know about DeAndre Hopkins. They just drafted Rondale Moore. They brought in A.J. Green. What does he have left in the tank with Chase Edmonds in the backfield? The defense, it's going to be solid, right? They added J.J. Watt. The pass rush between J.J. Watt and Chandler Jones is scary. The problem is the secondary, right? Are they going to be able to stop the pass? Probably not, and it could cost them to lose a few games, sitting right there at 11-6 and still a solid year. Last team up, the Seahawks. Now, Kyle has them at 9-8. I have them at 11-6 also. I mean, Pete, once again, I don't think he's going to let Russ cook for an entire season. As much as we all want that, the iffy focus on the run game, I mean, they want to run the ball more, and they brought back Chris Carson, but Chris Carson can't really stay healthy. What happens if Chris Carson goes down once again, and they still don't let Russ cook? We find out kind of what we saw at the end of 2020, where they're hit and miss on a weekly basis, still an overall solid team, but not the team that can win this division with the amount of competition they have now. Those years are over. These teams have improved. Like I said, though, sitting at 11-6, not a bad season overall. Now, like I said at the beginning, I'm sure there's things that you see on there that you don't agree with. Maybe you see things differently, and remember, that is okay. If we always agreed on everything, these shows would get super boring. It's the debate. It's the talk back and forth. The way that you may see things differently than myself, that is what makes this community super strong and scary dangerous when it comes to things fantasy football, because we get to see all different sides of the spectrum. So, like usual, we want to stay interactive. We tell you all to leave comments down below, and y'all leave comments down below a lot. We've been doing our best throughout the offseason to answer every comment on every video. I'm going to tell you right now, though, if you leave some hater comments, if you get all pissed off and disrespectful in the comments down below, I'm not going to waste my time with you. I'm just going to block you. I have no problem debating with anybody as long as it stays respectful. That's what this is all about, is having fun. Don't forget that. We always have to have fun and make this an enjoyable place to be. But leave those comments down below. We look forward to talking to you guys. Hopefully you guys have a great rest of your week, a great weekend here coming up, and we look forward to talking to you. Have a good one. Thanks.